There we go. Well, hey there.
How you doing? How you doing?
Ooh, I'm doing pretty good. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm enjoying the spotlight on your screen, looking all gigantic and stuff.
Yep. Your beard has. We have to give you the full majestic beard.
I'll turn my lighting up that way it doesn't look so like dark and spooky in here.
Quick diversion. That painting that you can finally see on stream, Saphira painted that.
Ooh.
Actually, do you guys want me to take it off the wall real quick and show you?
I would like to see it.
She made it for my birthday last year. Let me see if I can do that without strangling myself with my headset.
I actually kind of want to see this whole thing. Like I want to see all of this come tumbling down. I went off without a hitch. Darn it.
I mean, yeah, she painted this for my birthday last year.
That's amazing.
I know, right?
Beautiful.
I know.
Beautiful.
I've had it hanging up on the wall for a year, and I've been trying to find a way to get it to be shown on stream. It's gonna be hella crooked. I just know it. Yep. Yep, it's crooked, but you know what? I'll fix it later. It's leading.
It's off keeled like us, right?
Exactly.
Just a little off. That's it's a good representation.
Now my chair's falling apart. But so to get this started a bit, why don't you tell chat a little bit about yourself and what kind of content you produce?
Oh, well, my name is Rev. I'm an indie focused variety streamer. I play kind of like a plethora of all different kinds of like obscure indie games, plus a crap load of paladins. But one of the things that is actually kind of funny is there's a joke, like a running joke, that if a game has more than 14 plays or 14 downloads worldwide, I won't play it on stream.
Mhm.
Like that's how obscure some of the indie games I get into are. Another thing, I used to play Dead by Daylight a lot as that character, but we're retiring Dead by Daylight and gonna have to figure something else out with him. That's Zebo. He's a clown character that I portray occasionally. That's also Zebo. That's also, there's a theme. But yeah, so I try to find ways to really be weird and create some kind of like unique content of some sort. Unfortunately, like since I started my recent job, I've just like my energy levels have been so low, I haven't really been able to focus on that as much, but I'm hoping that'll balance out soon.
Tell us a little bit about what your job is, by the way.
Oh yeah, so little backstory. I used to actually build airplanes for a living. Well, build airplane parts. And right before COVID kind of took over, we had a mass layoff, and I was kind of allotted some time to start honing in on a craft. And being in the streamer space already, I decided I was going to kind of go headfirst into community management. And so like working on the facets of what it takes to build a community and things of that sort, I finally made the leap and got accepted for a position at lootcrate. And now not only do I work at lootcrate, but I also work at kidrobot as a community manager. So usually if you see some kind of memes or stuff like that coming on the lootcrate social medias or the kidrobot social medias, it's me. That's me doing that.
Fancy. And you're an ordained reverend, apparently.
Yeah,
I can wearer of many hats.
I do also have a lot of hats. But I know that's not, yeah, but yeah, no, I am an ordained. I'm an ordained minister. Legally, I am a reverend. I can run a church or officiate weddings or things of that sort. It's kind of interesting. What's funny is like sometimes I forget I did that, even though it's like in my name. Because I've only ever officiated like one wedding so far, and it was like the reason I actually became an ordained minister in the first place. Then I kind of went through like the stuff to kind of expand upon that. But yeah, it's I saw an opportunity. I was like, hey, you know what? Why not?
It's just it's kind of funny. I for a second like I knew your name is like Rev, and it used to be Reverend, or you shorten it, and then I see your tweet. You're like. Where you're like, I can officiate weddings. I was like, wait, really? Because like part of me, it flew right over my head.
Yeah, it's it's something that I like. Not a lot of people actually know like that I legitimately am one of those things. Like that I'm legitimately a reverend, but But I don't talk about it too much because of like when you throw the word reverend out there, there's like a religious connotation to it,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not religious, so it like to separate myself from that and kind of leave myself in the secular space in which I belong. I pulled. That's why I actually shortened originally from reverend down to rev.
And you mentioned Zebo, so go ahead and tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so Zebo started out as an interesting concept because it's been over 3 years since I created that character. And all it started out was an idea of trying to get into character to play different killers on Dead by Daylight. Because I was on Xbox at the time, it wasn't crossplay. I didn't have I didn't have anybody to play with, so I was always playing killer.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I ended up doing was taking this idea of going, all right, I'm going to come up with like a little character for each killer and play it while I play that killer all stream. First one was the clown, and it was wild. Like the energy was manic. Like it was all face paint. Everything. The hair was all over the place because I actually had hair at the time.
Mm-hmm.
It was wild, like insane. And then the next week I decided to do Jigsaw. So I painted myself up to look like Billy the Puppet. Like I had the spirals on my cheeks and
Mm-hmm.
the puppet lines and everything. But I was trying to do like trying to keep the whole like deep and gravelly voice that John Kramer is. It John Kramer? Yeah, I think so. From Saw is known for. And it started to get to where I was like, man, I'm going to lose my voice trying to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody goes, well, what about the clown character? You could do the clown character again. So I went, smeared all the face paint, splattered on more clown paint, did it again, and it started like becoming a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, man, if I'm going to keep doing this, I need to come with a name for this character. And so I put it out on Instagram, asking for name suggestions, and there were like three that stuck out to me. One was Zebo, and honestly, it's been so long I don't even remember what the other two were. I just remember there being three, and I narrowed it down to just the two, and I held a vote, and Zebo won by like a landslide. And for those of you who are not old, Zebo, the name was originally derived from a character in Are You Afraid of the Dark, the '90s Nickelodeon television series. And Rocker Shocker, a good friend of mine, is the one that actually suggested that name. And so here we are.
With those who aren't old. Well, that disqualifies me, and I think Saphira.
Yeah, dude. Every time I think about how old Are You Afraid of the Dark is, I'm like, oh, don't. I'm going to need some Metamucil and some Werther's Originals, man.
Good lord. So, I remember back when you used to be just an Xbox streamer. I think that was when we met. It was like right before you got your PC.
It was crazy back then. Like you saw the pictures of the setup. It
Mm-hmm.
was.
You've come so far.
I was struggle busting there for a while.
I mean, you still gotta stay in the closet though, right?
Oh yeah. This is my sanctuary at this point, and that is an empty box full of trash that I need to throw away. But in the meantime, I'll just like scoot over a little bit so it's not.
If you can't see it, it's not there, right?
Exactly.
Just like a streamer's legs. If chat
Perception
can't
is
see
reality.
it, if chat can't see it, it's not there. Just like
Oh, yeah.
legs. Streamers don't have legs because chat can't see them.
Yep, 100%.
So, what is your favorite game? And is this a game that you have streamed before, or is this something you've been interested in streaming?
So, I've actually been battling like this question kind of fluctuates back and forth sometimes, but I've settled on it because of the kind of inspiration I've taken from it in some of my channel art and stuff. I'm gonna have to go with Cuphead. Cuphead is like my favorite game of all time. I have played games since that I do technically enjoy more, but there's so much about Cuphead that resonates with me that it compound that all together and it stays my favorite. One of them, which is I used to be in the top 100 fastest Cuphead speedrunners for the current patch, and I'm working to get back to that because I liked being in the top 100.
Mm-hmm.
But it's such a precision based game. Like you can't have the slightest hiccup or you mess up your whole run, and it's a rage inducing game. So yeah, I've streamed it a lot. It's actually my fifth most streamed game, and I can beat the whole thing in like 45 minutes. So to put that enough time for that to be my fifth most streamed game of all time kind of says how much work I put into it.
I don't have the patience for speedrunning, and I get discouraged way too easily to even think about it.
That's where I've been lately because, like, after I got knocked out the top 100, I was like, all right, I'm going to get my way back in there. And then I'll get like almost all the way through the game and then die. And I'm like, because at that point, like when you get that far into the game, if you die,
Mhm.
you're not going to make that top 100 again. So it's like,
Mhm.
I'll do that a couple of times. I'm like, all right, I can't anymore. I'm starting to get frustrated and everything. I'm like, I can't, I just can't.
Mhm. So our next question is, what would you like to build your community around, or what would you like your community to kind of be known for?
So that's I really like that question because it's the community I've built around myself is known as the indie darlings. And I'll give a little backstory on the name first. An indie darling used to be like a term referring to actresses that appear in like tons of independent films. Like Zoe Deschanel was an indie darling for a long time, and then Maggie Gyllenhaal before they both started making more mainstream appearances and stuff. But the pro wrestling scene, which a lot of people don't know this about me, I'm actually a pretty big pro wrestling fan. Uh, People who are on the independent circuit there, people who aren't in the WWE or AEW or any of these major promotions that they have, are on what's called the independent scene. And that was a term that they were using to refer to wrestlers on the independent scene were indie darlings. And so I got to thinking, my content is primarily indie games. And so the term indie darlings already came up, and I got to thinking, I'm like, that's cool and all, but like not everybody in my community plays those. A lot of them, tune into my stream to watch me play them, but not the other way, not playing
Yeah.
themselves. But I got to thinking, I was like, when you think about the independent scene in any medium, whether it be games, movies, music, any of that stuff, there's something different about it than you get in these like major motion pictures or these AAA games and whatnot. And a lot of it is you can kind of feel the passion poured into these projects that
Mhm.
you can tell it's like this team of scrappy people who are just trying to break through and get an artistic vision out there in front of people.
Mhm.
And as soon as I thought about that, I was like, man, that does fit this community well because we have people who are excellent at art and stream and talk about their art, stream their art. We have people who are really into food, who are really passionate about food.
Mhm. Sir.
Um, there's also the Deuce Diaries in the Instagram and the Discord. That's a different story. But like these people that I've surrounded myself with all have like this deep seated passion for something, for making something, whether it is content or whether it's art or music. We have some musicians in the group and everything. It's just I felt that whole kind of like indie passion is very present and relevant in that community. So that's where the indie darlings came from.
Mhm. I like the smaller games because, like, with the AAA games, you get a lot of those. Like, you can get those moments where you can tell that someone they liked what they were doing. They put a lot of time in it, but it's always like self-contained into this one area because it's whatever this person worked on. And so it a lot of times doesn't translate over into the whole thing because you have so many people with so many different interests, like just working on these things. They're all like different levels of passion. Like some are really, really passionate and will Easter eggs and callbacks and nods and all sorts of this. And then
Mm-hmm.
you have the people who are like, it's cool, but paycheck.
Yeah, and you're right. You can see the inconsistencies sometimes. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes there's some really good projects put
Mm-hmm.
together on the AAA front. But yeah, it's like whenever you can see that passion shine through like that, there's something special about it, and that's what. Whenever you look at like say my three favorite indie games right now are Cuphead, Undertale, and Everhood, and those are so wildly, massively different from each other in terms of gameplay style, in terms of storytelling, in terms of art, in terms of soundtrack. All of them are so wildly different from each other, but you can tell that everybody that was involved in each one of these games had their hands in the entire game. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
there's this consistency of this vision, and that's it just tugs at my heart.
Our next question is going to be quite a tough one. So, what are some goals or ambitions that you have for content creation?
So, in terms of goals, like I've never put a specific stamp on like a numerical goal or anything like that. But I've set two particularly for myself this year, or three, sorry, three rather. And until they're met, they'll keep carrying. But one of them is to just remain more consistent with my content, even having a job now. Because like it was really easy to stay consistent when all I did was hang out with my
Yeah.
kids and then stream. But now it's like, I do have to shuffle it around job, family time, and everything. And so it's hard to stay consistent while maintaining a certain level of energy. So continuing being consistent, which I've taken 2 days off this week, so I'm off to a rocky start of that one, but it is what it is. Another one is after getting into Happy Simple Burger Farm, the video game, I want to start doing more paid voiceover work, which I have already got something in the pipelines right now. So hopefully that goes through. And then the third one is I want to get involved with a brand as a partnership of some sort that I actually believe in, that I actually enjoy, because a lot of people they do that where streaming first starts, they get approached by So Sick Clothing and, all these like little companies that try to partner with or affiliate every streamer that they can find.
The ones that are the Instagram bots that.
Yes, exactly. And a lot of people early on, you can't really say they fall into that trap because realistically, there's nothing happening against you if you don't sell anything.
It's just there's also nothing happening for you. So it's
exactly because you can sit there and peddle some unknown energy drink powder all day long, but if it's not something your audience is interested in, you're never going to sell any of it and yada yada yada. But I want to form a legitimate partnership with somebody like maybe like a Blackcraft cult clothing company, like or if I'm going to do like an energy drink company, I would do like Ghost because I drink those every day, unfortunately. But something like that, something that I actually genuinely enjoy and that maybe people who are around me might actually find interesting, so that way there is like a legitimate partnership there, not just like, hey, they like my stuff but I can't do anything to help to return that for them. So those are my big three for the year.
Lofty goals. I love it. I love when people have like massive goals like that. It doesn't make me feel nearly as bad for setting unrealistic goals. It's like,
yeah, and obviously when it comes to setting goals like that, there are little small goals that you put in place to try to help attain those bigger ones. That's like somebody can set a goal of being a Twitch partner, but realistically there's a lot that you have to do to get to that point. You can't just say I want to be a Twitch partner and then just pimp that out as your goal, because in the end, who doesn't?
Right.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, you're streaming on Twitch. There's nobody that's streaming on Twitch that says, nah, I wouldn't want to be a Twitch partner. Like,
yeah.
But yeah, so it's like you have to set those little micro goals to attain those bigger goals, and that's the important part.
It's like if someone were to ask you tomorrow, hey, would you wanna, if they were to offer you partnership tomorrow, you could be all like, I don't care about the money or yada yada, but if someone were to offer it to you, you wouldn't turn it down most likely.
Exactly. If they come at you and they're like, hey, we would like to offer you this purple check mark and extra emote slots, be like, all right, I'm going to have to find a way to explain this to everybody else who's questioning how this happened, but
yeah. So our next question is, you touched upon this a little bit, but where did your name come from?
Okay, yeah, so I'll give a little backstory on that, because there are people who have known me from before I was even Revsven. So once upon a time, my name was Iron Road Gaming because I was part of a gaming duo instead of just it being me. Things kind of fell out, and so it's not as an exciting story because the only reason Reverend Sven was my Xbox gamer tag was because of the being a Reverend. But the Sven part is actually kind of funny how it stuck with me all this time, because I used to work at Lowe's many, many years ago, like God, 7 years
Lowe's.
ago. Yeah, like I was working there, and there was a cashier there. She was one of the head cashiers, and they did the little board every day on who's going to be going and picking internet orders and whatnot. And at the time, I had one of those like douche nozzle looking top knots that like wannabe Vikings have, but my beard was also like down to here at the time. And so one day it was funny, she accidentally just misspelled my name, because my full disclosure, I don't mind saying this, my real name's Steven. And she was going to spell my name and just accidentally skipped the T and the E and just went SVEN, and she just looked at it and goes, I'm leaving it. And from then, just like the nickname Sven just kind of stuck with her. Like she was the only one that would call me that. But that is how Sven got rolled into my Twitch name. Well, in my Xbox name, which in turn became my Twitch name. Yep.
Picturing you with a top knot. It's
Bad.
hard. It's hard.
I think I could find the pictures somewhere. They'll pop
Please.
up on my Facebook. They'll be those ones that pop up on the Facebook memory that you're like, ah, shit.
You're like,
Really?
thanks for reminding me, Facebook. I didn't need it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, God, I was trying to leave this part of my past behind me.
So, what platforms all can you be found on, and what kind of content for each platform do you produce?
All right, yeah. So, man, I'm on a lot of different platforms. But in terms of actually like generating content for them, I'm here on Twitch, but I'm also on TikTok where I do upload mostly clips, but occasionally I'll do so like I'll think of something that fits kind of the maybe like a trending audio or something and run with it. And then I'm also on YouTube where I will be posting. I need to get back into making more, but that whole energy thing is still kind of there. But there I like to do shorter games, like really short, like 30 minutes or less games. That way they're easier to edit and cut down, and then upload those to YouTube because I'm actually in the YouTube partner program as well. And so those in terms of content, Twitch, TikTok, and YouTube are the three places you can find me, and it's just Revsven on all three. Then I'm on like every social media platform. I even have a MySpace, bro, for my Revsven stuff. And MySpace is mostly for bands. Like,
Does MySpace even exist?
Yeah, MySpace is a thing, but it's mostly for bands now.
Because I know you're on Hover. Of course, I follow you on TikTok and Instagram and Twitter, which I haven't found you on YouTube yet. Partly because I need to catch back up on YouTube. I have fallen behind significantly.
Hell, I've fallen behind on YouTube, and I'm supposed to be making content over there.
So, do you have any advice for like newer streamers or content creators? And this could be like technical, this could be mentality, or pretty much just any kind of advice.
So when this question comes around, usually I have a few different ones that I like to kind of focus on. One of them is, in terms of quality, focus on your audio before anything else. Audio is key, and you don't have to go out and buy like a super expensive microphone right at the gate, obviously, but you can get like a blue snowball and just mess with your filters and stuff like that. But the fastest way to get a lot of people to tune out of content is like if you're sitting there playing a game and you get excited and your mic peaks and it blows out somebody's eardrums or their headphones. So in terms of quality, first things first, you got to work on your audio. When it comes to what you're going to build your content around, don't be afraid to shift things. Like, don't focus on one particular game to try to build an audience around unless you are severely passionate about that game. Because I can't tell you how many people I know who are huge into Dead by Daylight got partnered because they were just like a strict Dead by Daylight streamer. And then when they got bored with it and went to something else, their viewership bottomed out. Like, when I say bottomed out, I mean like 2-3 average from partner. And that's over the course of a couple of months. So it's like, try to build your content around your personality more than anything, on who you are, because that's, again, when it comes to games, if you decide you want to play a different game, you're kind of out of luck. And then the other big one is, don't make the same mistake most of us made and get involved in streamer drama at any point, because what you can end up doing if you fall into this is, in my opinion, a trap. If you fall into this trap, it's almost impossible to climb out of. And then you start seeing engagement because you posted a hot take or something that's controversial at the time. And then so you kind of get this like subconscious desire to do it again and again. And then like you just, kind of suck at that point. So like, don't do that. Don't put yourself in a position where you like suck.
Yeah.
But those are probably the biggest ones I'd have to say is, audio first, build your content around you, and do not get involved in streamer drama. It's not worth it.
Otherwise, then you'll just be known as the douchebag with all the bad takes.
Yeah. Hell, I can't tell you how many people I know of on Twitter on Twitter that are huge on streamer Twitter because of all their hot takes and crap. Don't even stream, and it's like, how are you? What? She doesn't even go here. Like.
Yeah, it's like that meme from Pulp Fiction where Vince is looking around. He's like,
oh yeah, Love that movie. Pulp Fiction's actually my favorite movie.
It'd be better if, half my shoulders weren't cut off for my camera. Being so damn tall, there's only so much I can get in camera at once. Do you have a schedule? And if you do, enlighten us a bit on what it is.
I actually do. I need to update it on Twitch because I recently changed it for this year because I wanted to start going live on Saturdays again.
Mhm.
But I am live Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. In hindsight, I should probably drop that to 3 days. That'd probably help with my energy. But yeah, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday right now, 8 p.m. Central is when I go live. And on days that I'm off, I'm actually tinkering with going live on TikTok because I can go live on TikTok from my PC again.
Mhm.
So like I can actually have gameplay footage, camera, and everything on a TikTok stream.
Fancy. I'm too intimidated to try to get TikTok on PC. I'm too intimidated.
Yeah, well, so like they plan on actually rolling out stream keys to just do it normally, but there is it's like a workaround and
Mhm.
that I tested one time and it worked out pretty like I just decided to try it and it actually worked out fairly well. So I was like, all right, well, we'll roll with this now. They ended up like shutting down for a while. It's called Lula TV. They had to shut down their TikTok stuff for a while, and I'm not entirely sure why, but it's all back up and running now. So that's helpful.
I don't really have to worry about it. I'm not exactly, TikTok live size anyway. It's gotten to the point I'll go every week and I'll maybe find a clip I think is funny and I'll throw it up there and I'll get 2 or 3 likes. And I'm like, I'm good for the day. I'm good for the week.
Yeah, you never know when it might happen because I mean I was doing that for the longest time where I would just throw something up on TikTok because I had it and I thought it was funny, and then out of nowhere I was playing Little Misfortune and one of those clips just took off and I don't know how
Oh,
it like
the
why it
tree
happened.
humper clip.
No, the Tree Humper clip did that was from After Party, and it
Hmm.
did perform really well though because that one's really funny. But the clip that actually performed really well, I was playing Little Misfortune. There's this scene where she goes to try to climb through this hole like in a wall, and she gets stuck, and she farts, and that's it. Like that's the clip, and
Hmm.
I'm like, why is this? And then that was when it occurred to me like TikTok is lazy content. You make lazy content, you're gonna do well. So I just like slap stuff together now and throw it on there, and sometimes it works,
Hmm.
sometimes it still doesn't.
I think for like 4 months I was nice and consistent, posting a clip every day, every morning, and then after that, it got to the point where I was running out of stuff, and I'm like, I can't do this.
Yeah, it's hard. Especially like if you take a break at all,
Mm-hmm.
like you take because that happened to me. I started getting consistent again, and then I took like about a week off, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm out of clips. Like I don't have anything to post that I haven't already posted before.
Mm. Our next question is, what is something you wish you knew before you started streaming that you know now?
I wish before I started streaming, I wish I knew about imposter syndrome because finding out about imposter syndrome after you start suffering from it sucks.
Mhm.
And that was a hard hill to get over. So I would have to say, like, more than anything, yeah, getting like if knowing what imposter syndrome was before I started would have helped tremendously in that first bout with it that I had, because that was weird.
The feelings be tough sometimes, especially if you're finding out about them and you're like, oh, I don't like these feelings.
Yeah, these feelings can kick rocks. I don't want any of that.
Our next question is, what started you on content creation?
Oh, so the way I got started was one day I was sitting at home. Fun fact, I didn't even have a gaming console at this time. Like I'd gotten rid of my PlayStation because I had gotten so toxic at Rocket League that I didn't even like how I was behaving. And I was like, no, I'm done here. And just literally like sold my PlayStation, all my games and everything. And then about a year later, a buddy of mine reached out, Chris from Iron Road Gaming, goes, hey man, so I have this idea. Have you ever heard of Game Grumps? And I'm like, I know the name. I didn't even know there's gaming for entertainment was a thing at all.
Mhm.
And so he's like, well, here's what they do. I think we could do something similar to that and have a lot of fun doing it. We have really good banter back and forth. And I was like, I'll give it a shot. And so I went and got an Xbox, and we set it up, and we first. So ironically, we had a capture card and a microphone is
Mhm.
all we had, but the computer couldn't run the capture card. So we were streaming directly from Xbox, but we had set up like a fake party within Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
And the other account was on the PC, and we ran the good mic to it. So our mic was still trash. Like hindsight, I go back and watch some of those clips. I'm like, wow, this is booty. But yeah, we started playing games. It started out actually, I think the first one we played was Cuphead as a duo.
Ooh.
Yeah, I went ahead and test ran. Oh no, yeah. For YouTube, we did Slender the Arrival, is what it was. We played Slender, and he was playing it while I was just like doing commentary with it.
Mm-hmm.
And what was funny was I had read ahead on some stuff on how to get good jump scares out of people, and I was setting them up. And dude, there were some really funny moments. But I'm sitting there, like anytime I get involved in something, I study it. I'm not going to half-ass anything. I'm going to look into it and see how can I take this to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was when I found out. I had no idea what Twitch was before then. And I was like, dude, did you know you can go live on this Twitch website and chat with people and everything? And so we tried that out and actually had a couple of people stop by the very first stream while we were playing Cuphead, and our banter was good enough that they stuck around, and then it just kind of started snowballing from there. And then life happened. We're both fathers, and he was, our work schedules were different. And so it got to the point where we couldn't really do much together anymore. And so I just ran with it on the Twitch side. He was going to keep it going on the YouTube side. But even then, like, it was hard to stay consistent content wise between the two of us. So I just kind of branched out into the Revsven thing after that.
Fancy. So, let's see. So do you have any questions or observations for me, or anything you'd like to know about me before I let chat loose and let them invade your privacy a bit?
I think the only question I have for you is when are we playing Paladins again?
That's a good question. We need to set that up sometime.
Yeah, I'll play it whenever, but I always stream it on Saturdays according to my new schedule. Like Saturday nights, I'll always be streaming it, but I'm open to play and like whenever.
I'm honestly surprised you didn't ask about the name. Almost everybody has asked about the name at this point.
Yeah. I was gonna ask that. Like, why are there two of you?
So, without fail, literally everyone has asked. But so basically, a long time ago, way back freshman year of high school, me and my best friend at the time, I say at the time, and we're still best friends. We had this very, very cringeworthy YouTube channel that is since not existent anymore, thank God, of the same name, where we didn't have a capture card or anything. We had a camcorder, because I had a camcorder, so we had and a tripod. So we would set the camcorder and the tripod up facing the TV, and we would talk, and that's how we'd play games together, or like how we would like record. And after a while, I was watching a streamer who he does not stream anymore, unfortunately, due to life. His name was Endless Fragment. I was watching him at the time, and he's how I ended up finding out that you could stream directly from the Xbox. Because before I didn't know that. And so after I found that out, I went to my friend. I was like, "Hey, which exists? It's a thing. We should try it." And he's like, "Yeah, sure." And so eventually we ended up like he would still film the YouTube content and stuff, and I would edit it because I'm weird and I kind of like YouTube. I like editing, and I would stream under our channel name, and eventually we ended up getting too caught up in school. Well, he did, I didn't, so he ended up stopped being able to record, but I just kept streaming, and we still play together routinely, and that is how my name is 2GeeksGaming, because there is technically at one point there were two of us.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So it sounds like a very similar story to mine, just without the name change.
Yeah, I've always been trying to find something that, like, everyone knows me as 2G, so it's like I can't get rid of that now because, I like it and like everyone knows me as that. But at the same time, like, there's nothing. I've thought about doing a name change over a couple of times, but I don't know. I don't really have a name that I like that would kind of fit what we do. That also has 2G incorporated in it,
right?
And so I've just kind of stuck with it because.
For now, anyway.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
very true. It's very true.
Even if it's a pain in the ass to type, and 99% of people can't say it right when they say it out loud. So.
Yeah, it's those threes, man. Those threes throw
Mhm.
people off somehow.
Yeah.
We've been doing it for decades. God, yeah, it's been decades of using numbers in place of letters, and people still have trouble figuring out.
Yeah, that was the best two 14-year-olds could come up with.
Hey, it's pretty solid for 14. I mean, it still works. It still
Yeah.
works. Oh, real quick, did I ever show you this badger?
No, you did not.
It says hashtag where's Wingles on the back. Wingles made this little badger.
Oh my god.
He pretended to hide it when we went hiking, and I stole it.
I keep trying to convince him to come down, but he hates my state, and he will never visit.
Speaking of that, that's actually a follow-up question. If we could set up a meetup in Kansas City,
yes,
in like April, maybe possibly May, would you want to go?
Oh, absolutely.
All right, because I think I think that's happening. We've been legitimately trying to make that happen this spring sometime. So hopefully things can settle down a bit and we can actually make this happen, because I think that'd be a lot of fun.
That would be.
And everybody's invited if you can make it to Kansas City.
You have any more questions for me?
No, I think those are the only ones I would have.
Okay, so I'm gonna open it up and let chat maybe invade your privacy a bit if they have anything they need to ask or want to know about you.
Oh yeah, I'm open to answering anything. Like I've always kind of prided myself on being like an open book about things. This point in your life, if you could give your younger self one piece of advice, what would it be?
Deep questions coming from Tank.
Invest in Bitcoin.
Right.
And sell in 2018 when it was at its highest point. There you go. Boom. buy 100 Bitcoin and sell that in 2018. Where did Rev get the Call of Cthulhu statue? The Call of Cthulhu. This actually came from Loot Crate. It was in a past Fright Crate. I think you can actually get it on our Build a Crate website still. Technically, it's considered a soap altar, so you're supposed to put like a little bar of soap in here. But yeah, so this guy named Austin James, who used to be one of the creative guys for Loot Crate, actually designed that. He also designed this thing back here, which is like a little wall scroll banner thing that's the colors out of space, which is another HP Lovecraft thing. He always did like super dope designs like that. When I saw this one, I was like, I have to have it because the pun is top notch. I love Eldritch stuff. Yeah, I love that kind of stuff. Yeah, I've actually started amassing kind of a collection from my work stuff, like the Let Us Pray money hands, the Hug Me Bear with the tentacles or the suction cups and mouth on the stomach. This here, those all came from Kidrobot. I haven't actually showed anybody this yet. I haven't even taken a picture of it yet, but I played a game a while back called Omori. It's an amazing indie game, and I found somebody on Etsy that makes dioramas.
Oh.
And so it's like got the paper style diorama with like the actual like text box on the side and like Omori on the front. And I just got this in like last week, and I haven't had a chance to even show it up. I'm trying to find who it is. I can't remember the name of the person on Twitter, and I'm like, I want to find them first so that way I can tag them before I post it. But oh yeah, and then also I got Spike Spiegel from Cowboy Bebop as a U2s, and I got Jets up there too. But yeah, I've been collecting a lot of crazy stuff because of work lately.
Confession?
Robot.
Never seen Cowboy Bebop.
The anime is my favorite anime of all time. Hands down, like without question. It's so good. But I'm also like, I grew up a Western fan, like a fan of just Westerns in general, being from Oklahoma and being on that country shit. I grew up a fan of Westerns, and so Cowboy Bebop was actually the first anime outside of Dragon Ball that I ever watched. And when I saw that it was like that space Western theme, I was like, oh my God. And it still holds up. It's still so good to this day. Like me and Wingle started watching it when he was living here for like that month. And we ended up binge watching like the first 9 episodes one night, and then just kind of forgot to keep watching it. We've all been there. You start to binge something, you're like, man, I'm going to burn through this, but you don't do it the next day, and you just kind of forget about it.
That's how we are. We with Marilyn. we got all the way to the last season and we haven't seen any of it left. We haven't seen any of it after. We're on the last season and we're like halfway through and we just haven't watched it since. So we have no idea what's going on.
So if I could recommend that strategy for anyone, if you decide to watch Game of Thrones, do that. Binge watch it all, forget the last season. Just forget it. What is the worst gaming experience you've had? Without a doubt, 100% Words on Stream. The time I played Words on Stream. I'm gonna break this down into two because like that might not qualify as gaming, but yeah. So Words on Stream. What ended up happening? I decided to do that one night, and Hex timed someone out in chat. And that person was in a Discord that was full of people who come to streams, play that game, and try to set records. And it got taken over. The whole thing just got taken over, and it sucked. Like the whole stream ate booty. It was not in a good way. It was awful. But in terms of like actual gaming, there was this game I played. I'll have to see if I could find it. But I was doing indie game reviews for a while, and this one I picked up was like a visual novel, and it was awful. Like everything about it was bad. The storyline was awful. The conversations were bad. The sound engineering was terrible. It was just an awful experience. I didn't finish it. I've never gotten to a point where I couldn't finish a game because it's bad. Normally because I have a short attention span to forget. But I did not finish this game because it was awful. And that was just it was rough. I need to find the name of it though. A Nightmare's Trip. It was called A Nightmare's Trip. That's what it's called. Avoid that game at all costs. It sucks. It's trash.
I think the only game I've ever finished just because I hated like everything about it was Evil Within. It just feels like a knockoff Resident Evil that like no idea what's going on. That is the only game I have ever not finished because I hated it. Every other game I've not finished. I didn't finish the second Ori just because it's short attention span. I forgot to get back to it. Dark Souls 2 I didn't finish because I just wasn't having fun with it because Dark Souls. And the only other game I ever didn't finish was this little RPG called Greedfall, which is it's really cool. It's got like a fantasy like colonial era kind of feel to it. And it's super cool, but like I couldn't finish it because on stream for whatever reason, the bitrate would get so weird. Like it looked like TV static, the whole thing. And I to this day I still don't know what happened. And it only happened when I played that game. That is the only reason I have not finished it. I want to go back to it at some point once I figure out what the hell happened.
So interesting point to your deal on the Evil Within. The only reason I've never even tried that game is because I've heard a lot of people talk about how bad it is. Like normally I'm like, oh, I mean, I'll give it a shot myself. But when games are as expensive as they are, I just like when people are like, no, it's bad. I never bother with it. It's like I've done that with a lot of games where I just avoid them at all costs because of that. Like Cyberpunk was one of them. I just never got around to playing Cyberpunk because of its stumble out the gate at launch, and I never. By then, I was like, "Wait, what game? Oh yeah, that's right, that was a thing."
I keep hearing that the second one is actually pretty good, but to this day, I can't bear to. For some reason, I don't know if it's something to do with my autism, but I can't start not at the beginning, so I just can't pick up. And I also can't start something and then not finish it, really. Usually it bugs the shit out of me when I do it. Which is why I haven't started reading the Game of Thrones books, because by this point, Martin is probably going to die before he ever finishes the series.
No joke.
And so just like, it is very rare. That's why I can count on one hand the amount of games I have started but never finished. And I don't typically... I think the only time I have ever started a game without finishing it was Borderlands 2. I have not played the first Borderlands, but I've played everyone minus the Tales after, though. I just have not played the first one.
Interesting. You know, that's weird because I had somebody reach out to me at work. You know, one of my coworkers is wanting to play Borderlands 2 or 3 on stream, but doesn't want to start with the first one. And I'm like, why not? They're like, I don't know. I just hear the first one's not really worth playing. And I'm like, really? They're like, yeah. I don't know if it's because it's hard to find or what. I haven't done any looking into it myself, but I just find it crazy because like we had just talked about that. I mean, like a week ago, we just talked about that.
Confession? I wasn't really a fan of the third one. I
Oh, really?
wasn't, yeah. I got through it once and I couldn't play it again, which is because I played the second one a million times.
Yeah.
Because the characters like that you play as, their abilities feel cool. I didn't really wasn't much a fan of the abilities for the characters in that third one. Plus the villains they were obnoxious, but not in the good way. Like Handsome Jack he's obnoxious, but he's funny with it. And like the twins were just obnoxious to be obnoxious.
Right. Kind of like I don't know if you watched Game of Thrones, but Ramsay Bolton, just kind of a piece of crap for the sake of being a piece of crap.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, to that point, like talking about how like sequels really not living up to your standard for the prequels. Undertale, I listed my top 3. While it's technically not a sequel, it is very adjacent to a game called Deltarune, that's being released in chapters. And I started playing Deltarune, and they changed the combat system a little bit, enough to where it's like you have a party while also doing the bullet hell stuff. And I don't know why. I just couldn't get into it as much as I could Undertale, where it was just like you versus whoever you're fighting in the bullet hell style. It seems like it's going to be a perfectly fine game, but the gameplay style just wasn't my cup of tea, so I just bailed on it.
Correction, I did also play Witcher 3 before playing any of the others, but I am rectifying that now. It's also a fair excuse I have is that Witcher 1 is PC only, so it wasn't until earlier this year I had a gaming-worthy PC. But I'm going through it, I'm rectifying that now. I managed to get the first one for like, Saphira found a CD key for like 98 cents for the first one.
Nice.
And then the third one was on sale on the Xbox store for like $3.21, so I managed to pick both of them up. So now I have another excuse to take 6 months and play through the third one because it's that big of a game. I just love it so much.
Yeah, that's it. It's actually crazy too, because you mentioned you played Witcher 3 first, and I noticed like I had never even heard of The Witcher before the third one came out, and it came out and it was like super popular, and I was like,
at least here in outside of Poland, the Witcher games didn't sell well until the third one, for sure. The books were the same way too, and it wasn't until the third game came out that the books started selling well here in the States.
Now it's like a cultural phenomenon at this point.
It was a very big thing in Poland. Outside of Poland, not so much, at least until the third one. Actually, I need to get back on. I've started reading the books. I'm on the fourth one right now.
So when it comes to reading, I've only ever read through, outside of comics and manga, I've only ever actually like read start to finish like 3 books. Ready Player One, American Gods, and actually technically this counts as 3 books, but the Hunger Games trilogy when it first came out. But yeah, well, I guess Dante's Inferno too, so 4. If you count Hunger Games as 1. That's all I've ever like read actually cover to cover, because I try to get started into books, but I have to read every single night, because if I miss one night, I forget it. I completely space and forget. It's like I guess I'm a creature of habit. Like if I don't have that habit nailed down, my life goes into chaos.
Yes, Saphira loves Ready Player One.
Like to that point, I bought Ready Player 2. I picked it up, looked at the cover. I was like, all right, cool. Yeah, I'm going to start reading this tomorrow. Guess what I didn't do tomorrow?
You didn't read it.
Never even got started.
I still don't know where I got the name Saphira for her. Because at the time I was reading. So when we first got together, I blabbed to Tank and Eliza about it because I was nervous as fuck. So
I remember.
I
remember that too.
And I didn't know if she would be okay, using her name, because some people are, some people aren't. I didn't want to use her name and then her not be okay with it, and I'd be like, oh shit, I can't take that back. And at the time, I was thinking of, because I like have Session with Dragons. Most people who know me know this. I was thinking, and the ended up, because her hair is like blue, and it was like super blue when we met. So I was thinking, and I realized the Aragon series, there's the female dragon Saphira, who is blue. And I guess I started calling her Saphira, and to this day, like I still do on stream sometimes. Most people know her as, Saphira and not Blue Queen Bee. Most people don't recognize that when she says hi.
Yeah. So actually, funny story with nicknames. I don't have one for my wife, but my daughter, I randomly took to calling her Little One. And the reason, I had just watched Infinity War, and whenever Thanos
Sorry, little
yeets
one.
Gamora off the yep, sorry, little one. I remember what the way it started was God, we were watching cartoons or something, and I went to move, and I accidentally I hit her with my elbow a little bit, and she started crying, and I picked her up and I went, "Sorry, little one," and I went, "Well, that's a thing now," and I have called her Little One ever since.
I remember the first time she came into Otter's chat because I had talked to Otter, but I called her Saphira. And so the first time she came into Otter's chat, Otter, like when we told like Otter that Blue Queen Bee and Saphira were the same person, she like flipped out. She was like, "Oh my god, it's her! I didn't know. I feel so bad."
Yeah, dude. Let me guess. Otter was kind of like faking it till she made it kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've done that with people who have changed their names and I didn't know. They'd come in and start talking like they're like, "Hey Rev, what's up? It's been a while," and I'll just be like, "Yeah, dude, it's been forever. Hope all's been well." And they'll be like, "Oh yeah, by the way, I'm so and so." Like, "Oh shit, yeah, I didn't know that." I'll admit it when I get caught with it. I'll be like, "I had no idea. I was just trying to play it off without because I would have felt bad."
I just I love when people do that. They come in, they're like they came and they followed back when I first started, like was streaming on the Xbox, like back when I first started, and of course I've been streaming for almost 5 or 6 years at this point. They came in like 2 or 3 times then, and then time period of 3 years passes, and they come in, they're like, "Hey, remember me?" I'm like, "No, no, sir, I don't. I'm sorry." I'm just like, "I don't remember you. I'm sorry." Because I wasn't
See,
even for that 4 years. I wasn't even streaming like the entire time consistently. Because like I took like a year and a half break in between years 2 and 3 because my uncle had been diagnosed with brain cancer, and so that's like almost 7 years between when I met this guy, and I'm like, no, sir, I don't remember you. I'm sorry, I don't. I don't know what
I,
you're expecting.
I'll tell you this, one thing that's come in really handy is that whole like first time chatter thing they've
Oh,
added.
for sure.
Now I know, because then I can be, they'll be like, "Hey dude, how's it going?" And it won't say that, and I'll just be like, "Sup?" That's what a buddy of mine come in one time, and she had been around before, but it had been a while, and she come in and started, and I started guessing, and I guessed wrong, and I was like, "Ah," and she was like, "No, I'm friends with so and so, and that's how I met." I'm like, "Oh, well, I haven't seen him in like a year. How are y'all? Like, how are y'all doing?" Because
Mm-hmm.
I haven't talked to him either, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that first time chatter. Now when people come in, it's like first time chatter. I'm like, "Oh, welcome in. You're new." And like one time, somebody's like, "I'm actually not. I had to start a new account." I'm like, "Well, it's a different name. You're new. Knock it off."
So I've noticed. Do you want to talk a bit about your art that you got that you've been
Oh,
this you flashing us all with like every once in a while?
that yeah. As you can tell, these are horribly done. And very random. So I got really drunk one night.
I
And my
think
wife had a
most tattoo stories I think that I've heard start with I got really drunk.
and then I grabbed my wife's tattoo gun and
So
started doing things.
you
It
did all
was
those yourself?
yeah,
Ooh.
yeah. It was and I've been trying to figure out like some way to get them like I have an idea of what I want to do to cover it up. It involves like a mountain range and a night sky type of thing,
Mhm.
but that's obviously going to cost money that I don't have right now because tattoos can get expensive. So it's in the back burner. But yeah, I'm a very 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 big fan of outdoors and hiking in the mountains. And so I actually want to turn this like what I want to do because all these are dark is I want to try to transition this into like a night sky
Mhm.
to the backdrop of just like some simple minimalistic mountains around the base, kind of like you see people do with trees sometimes.
Mhm.
But I want to do it with mountains. That way, it's like lighter colors down here and darker up here instead of the other way around. They can get you stuff.
I know how expensive tattoos can get. I've got $1,800 worth of art, and I'm not even done yet.
Yeah, it's crazy how expensive they can
Yeah,
get. Like
yeah.
I have more. I have like I have Bushido and the principles of Bushido down on my shin, and then I have some other stuff like up here that's kind of like I got the Mandalorian Mythosaur, and
Mhm.
these sleeves are too tight to pull up all the way. But I have another one up here like towards my shoulder. But it's all those I got done like I had a friend do.
Mhm.
So he was a licensed artist, so those didn't cost me as much, but he doesn't do tattoos anymore. So I'm like, man, now I gotta actually like pay somebody what it actually costs to do this. Man, this is some bull
Now,
crap.
now I can't freeload my tattoo work. Damn it.
Right? It's like I can't get great value tattoos anymore. I have to get name brand. This is nah.
Great about that. Oh God. Does anyone else have any more questions for the handsome boy before we stop wasting his time and cut him loose?
And don't forget, I mean, if you ever have any questions to come up down the road, feel free to like message me anywhere. I'm places. My whole life is spent on the internet anymore.
I'm places. Doesn't make him sound like a man-ho.
No. Oh yeah. No, I'm definitely that. That's like oh wait. Oh, Obi's question. Yes, Obi asked, when me and Wingles kiss, who sucks on whose beard first? Well, considering he doesn't have much of one, I get all of it. Yeah. Yeah, he doesn't have enough to actually do that too. So I can actually like like utter that thing. Milk this beard if you want. So that I forgot about that question. I read that earlier and I completely spaced on answering it. But yeah, absolutely.
You mentioned Happy's Humble. Yeah, okay. Let's try this again. Happy's Humble Burger Farm. Tell us a bit about your gig in that.
Oh yeah, so talking about beards, right? So Happy's Humble Burger Farm is a sequel to a game called Happy's Humble Burger Barn. It's not like a direct sequel, but it is in the same universe. It's a spiritual successor in essence, and it's a fast food sim slash psychological horror game. And in that game, you go in, you make burgers and stuff like that, but then you start like discovering all this random crap. But there are radios in the game that you can go and listen to, and there's programming, commercials, and everything.
Mhm.
Well, I do this thing called Beard ASMR on my stream that gets redeemed for channel points. And one time I was playing the alpha test for Happy's Humble, and one of the devs was in the stream, and I remember him coming by because I was like, "Oh shoot, John!" Because he was the one that got me into it. He's the sound engineer for the game, and he apparently I thought eventually he had just left, but I guess he just went into pure lurk mode because at one point somebody redeemed Beard ASMR, so I cranked that gain up on my mic and I rubbed my beard on my mic like I do.
Mhm.
And then after the stream was over, I was like, man, that was fun. Stream's over, yada, yada, yada. I go to check Twitter because I had a notification. Sure enough, there was a message from him. Says, I heard the Beard ASMR thing, and I was wanting to know if you'd want to make a cameo in the game doing that. And I was like, absolutely. 100% without a doubt, let's make this happen. And so now there are two different versions of me introducing myself as Revsven, and I'm here to introduce you to the world of Beard ASMR. And you hear this like music start like this lighthearted, beautiful music in the background, and all of a sudden you start hearing the from my beard scraping on my mic. It's so funny, dude. There's actually a clip out there of me reacting to it for the first time because I did not go and watch anything about it before I went straight into that radio station and listened to my Beard ASMR, and I was like, no way, dude. I kind of I'm not gonna lie, kind of cried a little bit, a little teary eyed after all that went down because I was like, and that was where the whole like earlier we were full circle conversation here, imposter syndrome. Because not only am I in that game, but if you break into the radio station to listen to the radio programmings, my name is right next to Corey Kinchin, who has like almost 13 million subscribers on YouTube
Mhm.
for his gaming content. And I'm like, for some reason, when I saw that, my name right next to his in this game, I was like, whoa.
So
And
that happened.
oh yeah. Yeah. So whenever I was all stoked during stream, but if for people who were there, they know. And I think the VOD is still up because it's been less than a month, but it was like a 20-minute stream. I broke into that radio station, did that, and then decided I was going to come back and play the game again later. when I shut the stream down, like I had almost like a meltdown about it. It was like of just battling imposter syndrome. Like my wife had to like talk me down from it and everything because it got rough. Calmed down off of it, came around. And I was like, dude, it wasn't like, why am I in a game next? Like, why is my name next to Corey Kenshin? It was like, dude, I'm in a game next to, like right there next to Corey Kenshin, among other great content creators like 8-Bit Ryan and stuff. I'm like, this is insane. This is awesome. So I was able to finally get that headspace kind of worked out properly.
Now, anytime I go into Happy Humble's Burger Farm, I can be like, I know that guy.
It has been immortalized.
I wanted to kiss that guy.
Oh yeah, dude. The other night I was playing it on TikTok. I was actually playing Happy Humble on TikTok, and I went into the restaurant and turned the radio on, and the first thing that played was my Beard ASMR, and I was like, because the only time I'd really actually heard it in the game, because I never turned the radios on, was breaking into the radio station, going and finding it and listening to it. But I was sitting there, I went into my shift and I turned the radio on, and the first thing popped up was my ad for Beard ASMR. I was like, oh, there it is. Damn, let's go. Looks like that's about it, I guess.
Yeah. Last call for questions? Well, if that's the last of the questions, I guess we can cut poor Revy boy loose.
Well,
thank you for letting me.
I hit the cable on my mic. No, I appreciate you having me on, dude, and chatting with me. I always love doing stuff like this, and I haven't done anything like this in a long time. So I appreciate you having me on.
I appreciate you saying yes. Every time I ask people, I'm always slightly worried they're gonna be like, no, fuck off. No one has yet, but I'm always worried that someone's eventually going to.
Right, like somebody's going to eventually, but you know what? Oh well. You're doing great. You're doing great.
Well,
I had a blast. And if I had a blast, that's all that matters. Like, anybody that comes after me, who cares?
Well, thank you again, and I hope you have a lovely evening.
You as well. Enjoy the rest of your stream, and
Yes.
everybody that's been watching, love you.
Mm.
Bye.